Hello guys and welcome to the Jacob Show. This episode is special for the release of Star Wars The Force Awakens. We'll be traveling through the evolutions of the Star Wars games from the 8-bit era to the latest installments. There's a lot of Star Wars games out there and I have handpicked a few that grabbed my attention. May the Force be with you. Enjoy. Starting with the 8-bit games, we have Star Wars on the Famicom, also known as the Nintendo Entertainment System, the NES in Japan. It's the only game that the Star Wars franchise that was released exclusively in Japan. It's a decent game, but I was surprised that it wasn't released in the US. The game is a common side-scrolling platformer where you play as Luke Skywalker and join the rebellions against the Empire. Next, we have Super Star Wars for the SNES. The soundtrack for the game was amazing for a 16-bit console. Unfortunately, it is considered one of the worst games of the Star Wars game franchise, as it's super hard, so hard that it's nearly impossible to finish the first level, as there are no checkpoints in the game. Next, we have Dark Forces for the PS1 and PC, an FPS shooter that uses the Doom and Wolfenstein engine. This was very frustrating for me as I completed the chapter but couldn't progress to the next stage. After roaming through the stage again and went through the exit, I stayed still for 30 seconds, then it promoted me to press escape to choose to go to the next stage, which was very frustrating. Next, we have Shadows of the Empire for the Nintendo 64, a third-person shooter and flight combat that takes place between The Empire Strikes Back and The Return of the Jedi. This game has a very good reputation for the N64 as it sold really well. Next, we have Rebel Strike for the Nintendo Gamecube. It's an air combat game style that was exclusively released for the Gamecube. The game is set during the original Star Wars trilogy and recreates battles that take place during those films. The game follows Rouge Squadron, which was under the command of Luke Skywalker and Wedge Antilles, using starfighters to engage and defeat the Galactic Empire. Next, we have one of my favorite Star Wars games, and it's The Force Unleashed 1 and 2 for the Xbox 360, PS3 and PC. You play as Darth Vader's apprentice. The game is an action-adventure where the users take control of the apprentice, where you can fight with dual lightsabers and take control of the Force, and doing cool things with it like mind-controlling the enemies. Force Unleashed is considered one of the new generation games of Star Wars saga due to its high capabilities, graphics and optimized experience in the Dark Force. Unlike previous games we covered, you can level up your character, increase his status and obtain better abilities, from slicing and dicing to pushing enemy waves. I honestly recommend this game to all Star Wars fanatics. Lastly, we have Battlefront series, and we'll be looking at Battlefront 3 for the Xbox One, PS4 and PC. This game takes the Battlefield games and turns it into a Star Wars all-out war. From ground fights between the Rebels and the Empire, to air combat with TIE fighters and X-Wings. There is a lot of the main characters to choose from, the Force wielders like Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker, to a regular stormtrooper. Battlefront is the latest installment in the Star Wars saga, where it consists of several single-player missions and its main feature of online multiplayer modes. I personally enjoyed playing heroes versus villains, where you play as iconic characters against each other's side of the Force to keep your heroes or villains alive to score points and win the battle. Moreover, I enjoyed other modes such as air battles in Flight Squadron and the epic 40-player Walker Assault mode. This is definitely a solid fun game, and I would recommend Star Wars Battlefront to any online veteran. Thank you for viewing this episode. Details of the games will be on the description below. You will comment and like, and you will subscribe.